how to run ridiculously profitable cold webinars through a hybrid funnel, basically a combination of a webinar and a VSL funnel. Today, we're going to learn how to scale with bi-monthly and weekly webinars that are by far the best mechanism I know to get cold leads into your funnel, nurture them, and lead them to a sale. You're going to learn the caveats of running cold webinars and how to avoid them. So essentially, what you need to do differently compared to a warm webinar. And you're going to learn how to outperform 99% through data. And at the very end, I will also give you the exact tool, the Growing Info Consulter, that I currently use to analyze all of our webinar campaigns. And then that basically gives us the exact data that we need to improve ad recommendations, what we're currently doing wrong. Okay, so without further talk, I've got a lot of stuff prepared for you. Okay, let's dive right in. Well, before you ask who am I, why do I have the right to tell you about this? Well, we specialize in webinar and hybrid funnels. We're basically using our webinars as a tool to attract the nurture lead and then the VSL to convert them and retarget them, which is exactly what we're going to talk about right now. In the past, we've run a couple of different cold B2B, warm, direct-to-account, book a call webinars for our clients, with one of them hitting a 167K revenue on an 18K ad spend, so around 8.4 ROAS, $135,000 in cash collected. Okay, we've seen amazing engagement around our cold webinar campaigns with around nearly a 40% show up rate for a completely cold and skeptical audience. And we're currently seeing good engagement through our webinars, right? We've just recently run another webinar with around 2,000 attendees. We were seeing amazing engagement during our cold campaigns, as you can see over there, for example. Okay. And also another thing is, just recently, we have started a webinar campaign for a client where we essentially cut his cost per lead by 2/3. As you can see over there, for example, it was at 13, then it went down to 9, then it went down to 6. And I think currently we've got it around like 4, and we're getting more and more clients and scaling with our ad messaging. All right. So without further talk, I would say let's get right into it, and why cold webinars are by far the most efficient way to scale any type of high ticket business. Okay. But first of all, what does a completely cold lead who comes into your funnel need to convert? Well, he needs education, trust, and likeness. We need to replicate the organic sales process for a lead, because this is exactly what he was missing, right? He needs to watch a YouTube video, basically, acquire important information. Normally, he does all of the stuff on his own, right? And establishes a relation with the offer owner. Yeah. So before a lead ever gets warmed up and considers buying from you, he needs to be sold on the opportunity, the mechanism, your authority, and on their very own ability to make it happen with the exact high ticket offer that you're currently offering. And this is the exact organic sales process that we want to replicate with cold, right? And what do cold webinars do? Well, exactly that. A cold webinar is a 2-hour live session, including a Q&A and active interaction where people see, okay, this is actually a real person at the end and not someone just selling me a service online. And the leads see that you're a real person, and they're much more likely to build likeness and trust in you because of that, right? A live event is a real demonstration of your authority that sets you apart from your competitors, and it sells them on the opportunity, shows student proof, includes a massive 1-hour value education part, and basically you're the one who's presenting it, right? To the offer owners in there. And they by far the fastest way to shortcut the organic sales process that we've seen for our clients. We've run a couple of different funnels, also low-ticket funnels, but cold webinars always work extremely well for us, right? Well, let's think about the journey of a lead from entry point to sell. As I said again, normally they would have to pass the organic sales process, which is go out there on themselves, look for competitors, read articles, read something about the industry, follow you on Instagram, build trust, and then eventually they will buy when you do a special campaign. But for people who don't know you, who don't know who you are, who don't know what a business model is, you essentially need to replicate this exact warm process. Hammer education. Education is key. What you're going to talk about later, trust and value. Okay. And today, actually, we're going to simulate the exact journey of a lead from entry point to sale and exactly what you need to cover there. So we will just kind of use it as a study, as a case study to show you some examples. Well, don't burn your money, okay? Cold webinars are difficult. And always when you run ads, and especially when you run with a lot of money first, and you invest 5K, 6K, 10K, 15K in a weekly campaign, whatever, but you don't have the data and you don't know that it works yet, you will burn your money. And cold webinars aren't as half as easy as warm webinars because these are completely cold leads. So if you've already run a warm webinar in the past, and considering running completely cold because you've kind of squeezed the juice out of your warm audience, keep in mind that your conversion rates will be far, 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 far lower compared to warm webinars, okay? There's nothing such valuable as a warm audience. Okay, these people have never seen you before, and you really need to master the art of selling to them. As you can see, for example, this is just a comparison of a completely warm webinar that we run in the trading niche and another cold webinar that we currently run for our clients before. And a 40% show up rate is still pretty strong on cold traffic, but as you can see, 62% warm show up rate. And keep in mind, we didn't have SMS for this offer, right? And we didn't even have a personal WhatsApp message. For example, for this one, we were using a kind of WhatsApp automation, which cost a bit, but was very effective. And here we didn't even have these reminders in place, and still the show up rate was significantly higher, right? Common caveats of cold webinars are you aren't attracting enough leads per dollar, meaning your CPL is too high, meaning probably your ad creative sucks, or your landing page doesn't convert, or your load speed is too slow, right? Or it means another common caveat is basically you're attracting the wrong leads through your messaging. So you have enough leads, a low cost per lead, but your lead quality sucks, okay? Because you're messaging probably people who are looking for a get rich quick scheme, people who don't have money, people who are just out there hopping from one object to another one, but never actually commit. They just want to inform. There are a lot of these people out there, to be honest, right? And they're like poison for your webinar trial. Or you're attracting poor customers who don't convert, cold leads who don't care that much and don't show up. Okay, show up rates will be slower because these people don't care. Maybe they will just want your lead magnet. Maybe they just want like, oh man, I will opt in. But you really need to sell them the show up. And we're going to talk about this in a second. And the presentation doesn't convert and no one buys, or you can't scale because you aren't using data. Maybe it works one time, but you then don't know what went wrong, what went right, and where to double down and what to focus on. Okay, so there are a lot of caveats, as you can see. And as I said, today we're going to put this all to an end and simulate our leads journey from entry point to sale for a completely cold campaign. Okay, well, first of all, we're going to talk about ads. How to turn money to more money. Let me just check if I'm still recording. Yes, sir, we are. Okay. Well, first of all, customer research is everything. We go far more in market than a lot of people with our ad messaging and mainly try to target solution aware or more affluent people who are at least sold and a bigger opportunity on it. On the bigger opportunity as the solution. Maybe not exactly your business model, but they're still a bit more aware. They've watched something. They have some skills. We're especially targeting people with certain professions where they can go and leverage their skills. And we know they are already fluent because they work in this exact skill, which is normally very, very well paid. Okay. And before every single ad campaign, we spend 2 to 3 hours on designing our ad metrics. And I've literally recorded you an entire 40-minute video, I think, on my channel. So you can check this out. I won't go so deep into ad messaging and how we actually, come to the different angles. But as you can see, we're using something called an ad metrics where we have different in-market personas and different angles to target them, right? We define 10 different in-market personas. As you can see, these aren't all. We have far more, by the way, right? And tailor the angles to them. Just an example why you should use different angles. If a girl or a boy or whoever, right, doesn't react to your first pickup line, would you repeat it? Or would you try a new one? Or maybe use another conversion mechanism, talking about dating, and directly invite her to the dance floor? Because maybe she isn't like the girl who likes pickup lines. Okay, that's why we're using a different angle. I hope that made it very clear. If someone doesn't react to a case study testimonial angle, maybe he will react to the frustration or pain angle, or maybe he will react to the dream outcome angle, or to the leverage your skill angle, or the old versus new broken model angle, right? Spend most of your time on this research. Do competitor research, use the meta ads library, look at the hooks that are working well for your competitors. Do your very own research. You can do it with AI, but I like to use my own brain for that. The hook is the most important thing. Okay. Then how do we write high converting ads? And yeah, I'm very, very, very sorry we don't use Claude for this at all. Okay. Not for our registration ads, because they're so important and they need to be written by hand. And you guys would be shocked, probably you're doing it already, how many people are using AI to write their ads, and how obvious it is that these ads are written by AI, right? And in my opinion, they aren't that good. Well, how do we write high converting ads? So normally, let's say your what is a good converting ad overall? A good converting ad has a click-through rate at around 2 to 3 to 4%, 5% also. This is something we've seen for our clients. And look at the link click-through rate, because the click-through rate all is basically all the links that you have there on your ad, to your profile, to some related links on your very own ad. So the link click-through rate is the click-through rate for the exact link to your registration page. So you should only care for this, and you don't need this at all that much, or don't need to care about this that much, right? Well, how do we write high converting ads? Well, the thing is, we use quite a bit of different angles, and we're normally always using the hook as a caller. This is, by the way, just one angle. We have like tons of these angles, but it's just one, and I want to show you how we're calling out different persona. Okay, we're stepping in very, very casually. So I'm like, okay, you're making $2,000 at your hospitality gig, but does that give you the financial freedom, pain, all right, and quality of life you want, or dream outcome? You know the struggle. You're working 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. shifts, feeling like a slave. So this is really everything a pain section, right? Being yelled at by angry customers who don't care about you. We're going into the pain. And then we're asking them like a rhetorical question. Is this actually giving you the freedom, safety you're looking for? Obviously, it's not. And then we're giving them an alternative. What if you could use your high IQ that you already have and give you a head start into a fully remote top 1% income through mastering remote sales? Dream outcome. Oh, wow. Well, how do I get there? Now, I probably sounds like I'm talking bullshit, but my student XYZ was working in the same situation as well, student proof, working, getting paid like a slave, relatability. After he discovered high ticket sales, everything changed. And this is like the golden solution for them, right? And he's now XYZ, his new remote sales trip, even founded a trip to Bali. This is something our ICP also wants, okay? So basically introducing the pain, introducing the dream outcome, and then kind of frame the event, so the workshop, as the solution to get there. And below there, this is not the whole ad, by the way, there's like the pitch, like journal workshop, stuff like that, okay? Another ad could be, I like these ads, by the way, the if then ads. I know there are people who don't like it, but I think they're quite cool. Alex Hormozy uses them a lot. If you're in insurance sales or B2B sales, you're one industry switch away from doubling your income. Whoa, okay? Like literally everyone who's in B2B sales will get hooked by this probably. Okay, while you're earning in new currency that is losing money every day, my clients and I are taking advantage of gear arbitrage, and they're like, "What the fuck is gear arbitrage?" Okay, and then we instantly go into the pain again. Yo, you're in the you're away from family, you're not making as much money as you should, but there's a massive demand where you could get into, and you can make much more, right? And my client was in the same situation, cold calling, driving around. But after he realized that high ticket sales was exactly the same exact skills that you already have in B2B sales, we're basically targeting people in a telesales company selling software, as I did earlier, by the way, or stuff like that. And yeah, okay. And another angle would be for an Amazon offer, by the way, one ad that we wrote. Here's why 90% of people doing retail arbitrage fail. And this ad performed highly well, and got us in a lot of high quality leads, because people doing retail arbitrage already normally had a bit more money, right? And our model was more or less like the golden solution for retail arbitrage. But as you know, this ad is highly in market and highly specific. People who don't do retail arbitrage won't click on this ad. Okay. So just think about this. And we did it intentionally. Okay. I won't go that much into the copy. If you want a full copywriting course, there are a lot of copywriting courses out there online. Okay. But copy, highly important. Okay. As I said, we normally using a lot of different angles for each persona. But we don't only run around 15 to 20 video ads, we also run a bunch of static ads. Okay, as you can see over there, the new way to make money online. Okay, this is like a bit more problem. Student proof, hosting a masterclass. Okay, have you tried? Business model. We mastered business model. Different design. Okay, new way to make money online. Heard of. It works for busy people handling an objection. We've mastered it. Student proof. No, I think this is actually his very own proof. Have you tried Amazon? XYZ, right? And then some student proof, and then join a workshop, stuff like that. I need to make this a bit smaller. Okay. And why should you even consider running static ads like this? By the way, we have a bunch of static ads. We have like 20, 30 different static ads because they are amazing for testing angles. They're easy and quick to create. We have a template and we just paste it in, change the copy a bit. Copy is important, but static ad copy is quite easy, to be honest. And then we achieve a nice, cheap and low CPR, have a lot of creative testing in there with the statics. One thing to notice, statics normally don't get prioritized that much by the algorithm for what we've seen in the past for our clients. Maybe this is different for you, but this is how it looked like for us. But they add a very, very new medium to your ad strategy. So essentially, what do I mean with medium? Video or statics. And some people might just be more likely to register from statics, and Meta has more data and more creative testing data to optimize for with algorithm. And this is exactly what you need to do after the post Andromeda update. Okay. Well, now, once we've got our ads ready, as I said, you want to have 20 to 30 ads, right? We get into media buying, into campaign setup. How do we set up our campaigns inside of the ads manager? Well, ideally, we have just one ad set. This is the post Andromeda update. You want to put everything into one ad set, go broad normally, maybe target your location, your age audience, right? If you're running inside the US, inside Europe, whatever. And then you go to, you create one ad set, put all the ads in there. But you can also obviously have a retargeting ad set, as we had over here, for example, where we were targeting people who interacted with the Instagram profile, stuff like that, right? Didn't work that well, so we mainly focused on the broad audience because this creator didn't have so good Instagram engagement for now. And as you can see, we have a very own custom view over here, okay, that we basically build inside of the ads manager. And this is pretty sick because this is a custom metric where you can see the click-to conversion rate. Then you can see the landing page load rate, which is quite low, by the way. We need to optimize it, as you can see, right? And then you can see the landing page conversion rate, how well the landing page was converting, and you know exactly what you need to change. Make the landing page load faster, remove some heavy HTML on this page, or heavy images that take a lot of loading power, or make it more appealing, change the headline, okay? Now, why do we sometimes also use two ad sets for the very same broad audience? Because Meta optimizes for the lowest cost per conversion event, lowest cost per lead, in our case, like a registration rate. And we sometimes intentionally write some angles that call out our affluent customers, so people who've got around 5K to invest, who are already earning 6 figures a year in a corporate job, because the hook goes something like, oh yeah, if you've got around 5K to invest, you can invest this right now in a profitable Amazon business that would make you 5 figures this month or 6 figures this year or whatever, right? And Meta wouldn't prioritize these ads because it doesn't optimize for cost per acquisition. So essentially, what happens after we've acquired this lead? And this is what we care about. Our cost per lead doesn't say us that much. It gives us valuable data. But lastly, the cost per acquisition and the ROAS is what actually matters, right? You can have a much higher cost per lead, but if you're attracting people who actually have money to buy, then this is even better for you. And we split test which ads actually attract people who buy and not only register. And this is why we have a more aware or more affluent ad set as well over there, as you can see, which, by the way, have even a lower cost per lead, and we have a less aware one. Okay. And then we split test and see where did the people come from. And inside this ad set, we have at least 20 different creators. Okay. Now, UTM tracking, campaign medium source content. Okay, wait, you need to do UTM tracking. Maybe you're using Hyros, whatever, even better for you. We're currently not using it. We probably should get affiliates of Hyros for our agency. But what we do essentially is we create our very own URL parameters inside the Meta Ads Manager. We usually do something like site source name, okay, then UTM medium, which is essentially our placement, UTM campaign, which is our ad set name, and then UTM content, which is our ad name. So every link, whenever someone clicks on our ads, we know exactly where he came from, which ad he came from, which ad set he came from, which campaign he came from, because we know where the ad sets are and what placement he came from. Okay, so what placements are actually working well for us as well. Without UTM tracking, you're blind. The ad manager won't give you enough information about your lead quality. Okay, get this outside your mind. It's important to analyze data inside of Meta, but ideally what you want to do is go one step ahead, cross-reference data, and use these UTMs to track the first touch into your funnel and later then analyze when the lead actually converts, which will also give you a lot of information about retargeting, what we're going to talk about in a second, by the way. Okay. Well, once we've done this, and once we're tracking and cross-referencing later attendees, book calls, and sales, we're also split testing the landing pages. So if we're still simulating the journey, a lead signs up for one of our weekly webinars, okay, he clicks on the ads, he likes the ads, and thinks, okay, this could be something for you, for him. He clicks on our landing pages. And then he gets redirected to different designs because we're basically rebuilding our landing pages inside of blah, blah, blah. And when someone clicks on the link, we're basically redirecting them to different split tests. So we have, for example, one landing page with a VSL and one without a VSL for the same exact audience, okay? Code VSLs add friction, as you probably know, because people first click the VSL and then click the button. But they can also help nurture the leads who don't know you and make it more likely that they will actually show up and will show up nurtured. And then you will get rather high quality leads inside your funnel. And we're tracking all of the data, counting the numbers of different landing page signups and cross-reference them later with attendees so we know exactly, and also with mainly book calls, so we know exactly which landing page led to a attendee and which landing page converted better, which had a better conversion rate, and which attendees actually showed up, which registrants actually showed up. This way, we know which landing page actually leads to a higher opt-in and sharp rate. Exactly. As you can see, we also split test designs. This is one design. This is another design. So a completely different design that we're using. Also a different headline, as you can see over here, right? And some people might more likely be to convert from this one. So others might like this more, okay? And just keep it in mind, consider that this is quite very important when you're running a webinar to always split test. VSL, different design, different headline. And now I just want to show you why it matters so much. You always need to be one step ahead, especially for cold campaign fatigue. And when you're missing data, this leads to difficulties. Okay, you always need to be one step ahead and acquire more data about your audience. The more data and split tests you actually make, the more you learn about your audience and the more you can make game-changing adjustments. Okay, I just want to show you why this is so important. And why, if you're currently not split testing designs or headlines or VSL versions, you should probably do it. Let's say we have around 1,000 registrants, okay? And my landing page A converts at 40%. But my landing page B, let's say this is B, okay, converts at 50%. Well, then assuming then we would have around 400 registrants for landing page A and 500 registrants for landing page B. By the way, this is written a bit wrong. I actually want to say we have around 1,000 leads. Okay, so just remove this. We have 400 registrants and 500 registrants for landing page B because B converted better and 1,000 people coming under 50
of them converted, 50% of them converted, so we had 500. Okay. Assuming a 40% show up rate, this would be for landing page A, 160 versus 200 attendees for landing page B. Okay. Assuming a 15% booking rate, this would be 24 versus 30 booked calls. Again, the only thing that's different here is just the headline, maybe, or just the design, or maybe a VSL or no VSL. Assuming an 85% show up rate, this would be 20 versus 25 show ups. Assuming a 40% close rate, this would be 8 versus 10 closes. And assuming a 5K ticket price, this would be 40,000 versus $50,000 per webinar. Assuming we're running 4 webinars a month, this would be 160,000 versus $200,000 in revenue that you're making from your webinars. And so basically $40,000 more just by changing the headline, the design, or adding a VSL. So I hope you can see now how important this is. This is something we've seen in the past for our very own landing page. So just a very, very small adjustment like this and collecting more data helps you go with the winning design that will essentially make you 40K more a month. And if you're not split testing, you're literally leaving money on the table. Okay. Another thing I want to show you is that we're currently using an Instagram autofill or a browser autofill, to be honest, right? So this helped us actually increase our landing page opt-in rates from 40 to 50%, just the thing I was talking about right now, and significantly reduces our friction. Because people basically sign up. This is custom built inside of Lovable, by the way. And since all of our traffic is coming from Facebook, this is incredibly valuable. So people the user has their saved contact info in their device or browser, right? And this hook allows them to autofill it, and they don't even need to put it in there. And this is like highly important. You probably see this on a couple of different other websites you're currently opting in for. Do it as well. It will just help. Okay. And Lovable then forwards our UTM data. So Lovable takes all the data that we get and forwards the UTM data as well. Forwards the name, obviously, address, phone number, but essentially the UTM data. And the landing page split test version, so which landing page they actually came from. We have A, B, C, for example. Normally we split test 2 different, so A, B, and split and forwards this data into Zapier. Okay. And as I said, also what we're mainly doing for our webinars is we have something like lead magnets to also increase the opt-in rate. We have a very quite well-designed agenda section, and the agenda section already excites leads and leads to increased show-up rates. And we always want to stay congruent in our messaging. So if I'm talking about the Amazon Wholesale Blueprint or the 5-phase profit roadmap, my show-up sequence should be about this. My reminder should be about this. My webinar should be about this. Okay. A follow-up sequence as well. And the lead magnet should always solve one problem. So in our case, for example, it was like it solves the product problem, okay? And it increases opt-in rates and fosters reciprocity. We're currently creating lead magnets like this with AI. So if you want to learn how you can do this as well, DM me magnet on Instagram, and I will set you my A to Z guide. This is not created by Manus anymore. We found a new way to do it, and it's a quite easy way to create premium lead magnets. And why should you do this and not only use a PDF? Because this gives your brand a premium look, and people will get even more excited if they know, oh wow, these people actually invest time in creating their lead magnets, right? Then the webinar must give me even more information. Okay. Well, then we take basically all the data that we've collected from the ads, all the data about our landing page split test, all the UTM tracking, and we plug it into our registration sheet first of all. So we know exactly where they came from, okay? Facebook mobile reads, Facebook, Instagram, which campaign they came from, UTM term. We've changed this, by the way, as well. But UTM content, so which ad was performing well, and did more people come from B, from C, from B, from C, and then we cross-reference this. We take this data, plug it into Manus later with the attendee data that we have, with the book call data, with the actual sales data that happened, and then we cross-reference this data. We see which ads actually led to sales, which landing page actually led to more show-ups, And then we double down on this messaging and then this campaign that we're currently using. And if you're not using UTM data, you're probably blind. And with Manus, you have a pretty strong data analysis tool where you can just plug in and it will literally like analyze all of your data in 4 or 5 minutes if you have the backend set up correctly. Then from there on, we send them to this should not be registration, a registry page, right? With a registration video, a confirmation video, basically thanking them for signing up. We've got a WhatsApp group in there, a calendar link, which we're currently generating with Labnol. You find the webinar jam event link in there, can add it to the calendar already, okay? And I've recorded a full video on my channel, something like how we made $135,000 with one webinar, where I'm breaking this down step by step. Okay, so you can check this out there. And this is basically the ad side of things. Now our lead is inside of our funnel. We've taken a cold lead, right, and taking them through the entire journey, through our ads, and he's now inside of our funnel getting nurtured. And now it's highly important that we talk about how we can actually replicate the organic sales process with our show up sequence. Because when a lead now is inside your funnel, you will ask questions like, what is the unique mechanism that you're teaching? What is the business model that you're teaching? And who is this guy? Why should I trust him? Again, this is a cold lead, okay? The sale happens already in the show up sequence. You need to pre-sell them on the webinar and pre-sell them on the actual pitch in the webinar, okay? And I think for cold webinars, this is probably by far the most important part, the show up rate and the nurture show up rate. You need to essentially shortcut the organic sales process of trust building, likeness, watching YouTube videos, acquiring information that takes months in 1 week. And you need to tailor the entire show up sequence to a cold audience, okay? I see so many people getting this wrong, and we did it as well. You need to explain the industry first, the big opportunity you're teaching, okay? Your unique approach. Make it easy. Talk to a beginner. Talk to people who don't know you. Introduce yourself, your story, and back it up with objection handling and student proof. Never, ever only include a show up sequence with student proof and objection handling. I want you to include at least 4 to 5 educational emails, okay, on time elements. We're going to talk about this in a second. Because if you don't do this, people aren't sold on the opportunity or industry. You need to sell them there first. No one will care about your student proof. No one will care about your objection handling if they aren't sold on the opportunity first. And you do this through education. Okay, so your business model, essentially, if I'm teaching remote sales and someone doesn't know what remote sales is, well, why should he care how much my student Tim made? Okay, because you first need to understand what remote sales is, how he can make his money there, and then why it should work for him as well. Okay. Well, we have an entire show up email flow with around 15 to 20 pre-webinar emails and also reminders, SMS reminders, and we're using a WhatsApp group where we're nurturing people. But for the simplicity of this video, I will only show you our show up email flow. I've got a full video on how to set up the WhatsApp correctly on this channel. Okay. Well, first of all, what we always do is a confirmation. So they already know what's up. Once someone registered, he gets this confirmation, also gets an SMS reminder with the WhatsApp group link, okay? Once someone signs up, they are already hot, okay? They're high intent. You have now their attention, so use it. Use this email, which will get very high open rates, and pack it with information and links, okay? Like literally pack it with as much information you can, okay? Because this will get a very high open rate because people just registered, they will check it out, okay? Normally we do something like, your spot isn't saved yet. And people are like, what? Why isn't saved yet? Okay, just save your access link. We put the webinar jam link in there, add the link to the calendar, okay? And then WhatsApp group comes in the next email. And then we're also selling them a bit on the business model again, okay? Or on the workshop, we're kind of like exciting them, or here's what you're going to learn, okay? You will learn how you can earn in dollars and spend in your local currency where the money stretches 10x further. This is the skill. It can make you money for life. Sales never goes away. Every business on earth needs it. And we're basically like kind of doing a lot of education there as well already, okay? This is not only a confirmation email. And then we have a fully education tailored show up sequence. And you really need to focus on education, okay? Cold leads don't know nothing or only very few things about the industry, the business model, or how this works. Sell them the opportunity first, okay? And again, this is like telling someone, if you would just start with student proof without selling the opportunity, it's like telling someone you're driving a Bugatti, but he's like, oh man, I don't even care about cars, right? So spark the interest first. These people aren't warm. And this is the main cold webinar difference. For a warm campaign, this is essentially the part that you can more or less skip because people are already at least aware of the opportunity. You don't need to focus so much on that because they are already educated from your YouTube or Instagram content, for example. Share a lot of sauce and make it easy to understand. Use images and show it in action. So as you can see over there, we have one email. This is just the third email in the flow. What the hell is sales? Sales isn't about being pushy. Sales is the transfer of conviction. It's about helping people make decisions that will ultimately change their lives for the better. You're building a bridge between someone's current situation and their desired outcome. We're making it visual. We're making it easy to understand. We're using comparisons, metaphors, right? We're selling the industry. Everything in life is sales. Politicians are selling. Poets and artists are selling. Personal brands are selling. E-commerce brands are selling. Salesperson is the human infrastructure, okay? And then we have another email. Are you good at selling? You are already selling yourself. We're telling them like basically they already know stuff about sales. That's also a pretty cool angle, to be honest. It's not about being manipulative or being a car salesman. You are a doctor. We're shifting their beliefs already, okay? So what's the problem? How long has it hurt? Only they then we offer a solution. This is essentially also what we use inside the webinar for this very specific client. So shifting the belief from a slimy salesperson to a doctor who actually helps. And this is ideally what sales is about. This is what we're doing as digital marketers as well, helping people come to any session. Now, why is now sales the biggest opportunity? We're selling the opportunity, a bit of market information, okay? Why, who they will work for lastly, and some more information. And this is also pretty cool stuff. We're basically showing them a setting conversation from one of our students, and then we're analyzing this conversation so that they already know exactly what their job will be about and what they will do. And then we're telling them, like, look, this set actually led to a $5,000 close later. So the setter made around what would that be though? $250 probably from this one. Yeah. So we show them it in action. Then we're also using, again, once you've established education, we're then following up in a flow. And as you can see, this email 5, 7, and so on, with student proof. Okay. Student proof is our positioning. It creates a emotional relation. It shows them that they can do it too. And we use student proof to handle their objections. My student, Tom, also didn't have any previous experience. He was burned before by other courses. He was working a 9 to 5, but it didn't work. Okay. But after he discovered our unique mechanism, it worked for him. As you can see, here's what happened. And then we're talking about his win. And we're crushing the I don't have experience objection. Okay. We're showing the transformation and we tell them it's not special. Yeah, some of our emails are written with Claude, but we're pre-writing the angle, okay? This is where you can obviously leverage Claude later, right? And then we're borrowing authority from people, like basically we're showing like people who they can work for later. This is also educational. And then we're showing like people who are right now in his community and who are working for Jean Frimpong, for example, okay? And always, what you always need to include in your email sequences, and I can't stress this enough, in nearly every email sequence, in nearly every single email, you should embed one sales asset. This is ideally a YouTube video, an A to Z guide, a gamma board, a student interview, or a PDF that you've created for them. And these are crucial for cold leads because they nurture them. They do the heavy lifting. You're basically hammering these guys with YouTube videos, getting them to watch them in the WhatsApp group and in the email sequence, okay? And one of our clients, like literally this client, grew his YouTube by 300 subscribers just through one webinar. So this actually works, okay? Then another thing is we show authority. You show your story. use before after pictures, ideally a sales asset. Again, so basically a YouTube video where you're showing your transformation. Be relatable, share imperfections, create familiarity and likeness. Don't be the perfect guy. Okay? This is your positioning and throw rocks at enemies, for example. Where did he say though? Yeah, I failed at dropshipping. Failed Forex scam. So maybe his ICP already tried this before and we shown you, look, I was you. I was literally you, but now I'm there. And recorded a video on that. Okay. And then objection handling. So this email, for example, are you scared of height? And we're going into like the fears that they might currently have, right? And the business of fear. So basically like, what if I apply to 50 euros and nobody hires me? This is a common objection a lot of people have. And then we show them, look, when you attend, we will show you how you can get access to a network of job opportunities. What if I spend months learning sales and never make $1 online? Okay. And then we're being relatable. We're first of all relating our very own situation with this. And then we show a sales asset of a student for even more proof. Okay. This could be also the fear of not landing a job, finding a profitable product, for example, for Amazon, or burning money. Handle the time objection, the money objection, the risk objection, the guru objection. Why are you selling the service? And the market is saturated objection, for example, right? List every single reason why someone shouldn't believe in you, in the method, or in themselves making it happen. And this is basically it. Same thing for the WhatsApp group. In the WhatsApp group, we also include 4 to 5 like kind of selfie videos where the creator will basically say, yo, look, just want to give you a quick breakdown on how Amazon private labeling actually works. And then he walks around and shows, for example, his very own brand, and so on, right? Send 1 to 3 retargeting evergreen videos after the webinar as well as a follow-up sequence. We're going to talk about this in a second, and create a separate group for every webby, because you can go harder in urgency, scarcity, and those people aren't burned and like, yo, why are you doing this again, right? 4 to 5 messages a day with sales assets in the WhatsApp group. Okay, now this is the email side of things, and now we're talking about the hammer demands. These are crucial. If you don't have 25 to 30 short form video ads, around 5 to 10 long form video ads that you're literally hammering in your audience with education, with trust building, with student proof, with objection handling, you're leaving a lot of money on the table because your show up rates aren't that good as they should and your leads aren't nurtured. Okay, these will target everyone who's registered for the workshop. You want to literally like hammer these educational videos in your audience, okay? Think of them as your very, very own YouTube channel. And it's by far the most efficient method to replicate your organic sales asset, because people will see these online. When they scroll through Instagram, through Facebook, they first have, no, for an email, they first have to open it, or first have to open the WhatsApp chat, but you're basically targeting these guys while they're scrolling and giving them a lot of information. That's why they're so efficient. But only if you have a high creative volume, okay? Now, why do they matter? People have registered, but they aren't sold on the show up yet. They're interested. And now it's time to show them why they should show up and why they can't miss this webinar. It's time to educate them, warm them up. It's time to handle every single objection they might have why they should fail. And it's time to make them understand that they can't miss this webinar. This is your chance. You have their attention and you should use it, okay? A webinar like Hammer ads should be very, very education focused. We prefer including a lot of educational Hammer ads. So, for example, explaining the business model, okay, explaining what it is, how it works. And from experience, we know that most people aren't aware of a mechanism. So we need to explain them first why our business model makes so much sense. And we want this aha moment, okay? And then we hit them with student proof. So as you can see over there, here's, for example, one. Handling the time objection. Can you build an Amazon business while working a 9 to 5? Of course I can. I'm an example of that, right? You know, your current job doesn't give you the financial freedom. What I get it. I was working 14 hours. My body was aching, but I made time for that. I have at least like 1 to 2 hours. I quit watching TV, stuff like that. Okay. Then, how does the business model work? And why is it different from every other business model you've tried in the past? We're not creating demand. We're tapping into it. We're selling boring products. Okay. My student did the same. This is no fancy dropshipping stuff. This is no fancy private label. creating stuff, we're selling stuff that people actually need. Okay. And then you explain the math behind it, and you explain that it's more profitable than a real estate investment. And then you start telling them that in the workshop, they will learn the same exact thing. So they should make sure they show up. This is essentially how you write Hammer the Math. And we have a lot of different angles there too. Okay. You started selling everyday products on Amazon, but how soon can a regular guy expect to see results? This is basically how soon do you see results? And then we're like, this is not a get rich quick scheme, but I'm just showing you results from people in our community that were in the same exact situation where you are. Then we're telling them why it's the safest way to invest their money, how someone with no experience can realistically make money with it, why it's the right time to start now, so pain of inaction, okay, a window that's closing, and what's the real difference between Amazon wholesale, for example, and retail arbitrage was another business model. And why should I believe I can succeed when most people on Amazon fail? So again, breaking their very own limiting beliefs. These are just a couple of the ads that we've used for this creator. You can also use your current breakout videos on your registered page and use them as Hammer them ads. They're objection handling. They're probably explaining the business model. So essentially, they fulfill the same process. Okay. Also, a pretty cool Hammer them ad is a student interview where you ask your editor to chop together student interviews that you currently have on your YouTube, put them in a nice mobile format, and kind of like use them as a bottom of funnel Hammer them ads that people will see. And adds another conversion mechanism, because maybe some people just don't like the talking head style. Okay. Don't be selfish. For the Hammer them ads, put yourself in your lead situation. For example, for remote sales, it was like, okay, I was in a situation. If I was working now in B2B sales, what I did, and someone told me about remote sales and about this amazing opportunity, I first would need to understand what it actually is and why it works. And I need to get this aha moment. All right, okay, there is so much demand out there. All right, there's the person I follow who's actually making that much money online, right? So it will probably work for me too. And what are their desires deep down? Again, an amazing book should be. Yeah. Oh, we actually have it. An amazing book, basically, on how to win friends and influence people. Amazing book for anyone who's into sales or marketing or whatever, because it just tells you how you should actually think and approach things. You're not hard selling stuff. You're literally helping people get to a decision and trying to help them essentially. Okay. These are a Hammer them ads. Again, there's a lot of variety, but this is essentially how we do them. And now let's talk about the media buying. How do we actually set those Hammer them ads up? Well, first of all, the targeting. We create a custom audience for all registrants. Okay. As you can see, on lead event, so people are registered, and we exclude people who have viewed at least 3 seconds of our video. And then we create an ad set for each Hammer them ad. So basically, we exclude, where do I use? Yeah, people who have viewed at least 3 seconds of a video over there. And then in the campaign setup, okay, I don't have it over here, but we basically have a campaign that's optimized for traffic because we want to get a lot of eyeballs, right? And then we select this custom audience and exclude this one, and we create one ad set for every Hammer them ad because we want to exclude the people who have viewed at least 3 seconds of this video to reduce the frequency until that one, ideally. Okay. So again, yeah, this is everything. And in terms of the budget, we normally calculate a 10 to 15% of your campaign budget for the Hammer them ads. This really depends on your variety. You should only do this if you have around 20 to 30 Hammer them ads already, and depends on your data. Okay, I won't tell you 10 to 15% is the optimized budget. This is highly dependent on your situation and on your sharp rates. If they are the main bottleneck and if they can be improved, you should add a lot of Hammer them ads and increase the volume, because people don't show up because they aren't getting nurtured. Okay. And then what we also do, what I don't see so many people doing out there, is even though we don't optimize for lead in the campaign, so optimizing for traffic, we're still including a link to a nurturing page, or a custom nurturing page where we have a lot of urgency and student-proof interviews, the WhatsApp link, the calendar link, stuff like that, breakout videos, and we send people there. So we're taking advantage of that. We already have the their attention and giving them the opportunity to learn more. Okay, it's not just one hammer the math. It's like watch your hammer the math, and if you're interested in this, click on this link where you learn even more about the business model. And then some people might actually go there and watch the videos and learn more and show up nurtured. Okay, and then once the people show up through our entire flow, okay, and we have a show up rate of 35 to 40% or 45%, ideally, it's time for the presentation. And again, I won't go so much into the presentation because I literally have a full webinar about a webinar and the exact framework that we're using to write it. And you can just literally copy it on this channel. So watch this first. But the difference between a cold and warm webinar, as I said again, the main thing, sell the opportunity, sell the business model. Stay congruent with your funnel messaging, fulfill exactly what you promised them, and stay congruent with your ad messaging, your ad preview text, your headline, your landing page copy, your registered page copy, your show up sequence copy. Stay congruent, okay? This is very important. People need to directly, if I'm talking about a Thursday special, I should talk about a Thursday special in the webinar presentation as well. The main difference between warm and cold webinars is warm webinars are much more objection handling, unique mechanism positioning. The 3 pillars are generally the unique sub-mechanisms that you're teaching. So this could be a niche selection, content creation, AI automation formula for a YouTube automation offer, for example. These people are already interested in the industry. They were probably getting a lot of advice from your competitors, and now you need to show them why you have different processes for the sub pillars and what's making you unique. Show them results, handle their objections, and put yourself in a unique position. Okay, they're already sold in the industry. But if you would run a cold webinar, there's a generally completely different awareness level. Okay, exception is your ads are already targeting highly in-market people who are in this exact business model. Our in-market people aren't. They're like normally inside the bigger opportunity, but not in this business model. So you need to talk about the industry first, sell the business model, the opportunity, educate them, and kind of make the 3 pillars much broader. So we were talking people who were into sales, who knew about sales, but they didn't know about the remote sales industry, what it is, how commission models work there, what they actually do. So we first sold the industry. The pillars were far broader, right? It wasn't like a sub-mechanism. It was basically selling the industry. Then we saw the skill set, so objection handling, ask, what was it, like acknowledge, transition, answer, and then how to land a job, right? So completely different pillars from the warm ones because we needed people to sell them first, okay? And this webinar worked very, very, very well. I think this is the retention curve. So as you can see, a lot of people stayed. I think like we had like an 81% retention until the pitch. So pretty strong. Okay. This is basically the main thing. And before we getting into how we can outperform everyone with data, I just want to notice right now how we're now using retargeting, our hybrid funnel, and VSLs to make these weekly webinars and bi-monthly webinars that we're running extremely profitable. Okay. And the thing is, the real benefit of a webinar isn't just a presentation. It's not all about converting people at the place. So even if your webinar does great, but if there aren't that many people who are actually closing from the webinar, you shouldn't get confused because people will buy later. Okay. And the truth is that not everyone buys from the webinar. But after a 2-hour live webinar with a hammer them sequence, show up sequences campaign, they're insanely nurtured and warm. And webinars have now done the heavy lifting. They've seen you in persona. They've established trust, and you've essentially converted completely cold people in warm leads. And webinar just lead to a massive overall conversion boost through your entire funnel because you're getting new people in there from the entry point, right? Nurturing them heavily, showing them yourself in persona. They even interact you. Maybe you call out their name in the chat, right? And sales will happen over the time now. Now it's time to take advantage of this nurturing process that we've already done with webinars. And when you do UTM tracking, where you track the first point entry into your funnel and you see, okay, they came from this webinar, you will notice that a lot of people who actually came from the webinars buy later. Okay.
Then it's time to use your VSL funnel and squeeze the entire juice out there. And this is what puts a VSL funnel on steroids, right? Because not everyone who attended, everybody who attended but didn't buy or book a call will now be retargeted by a VSL funnel. Okay. So we normally only target attendees because they are already nurtured and much warmer than people who didn't attend. And then we will craft book a call ads and follow-up campaigns for these attendees to send them to the VSL funnel. They are already highly nurtured. They just need a final edge. They need to see us again over the next days. We need to crush some of their objections, and many of them will book in. Okay. And this is not only a booking page, so not only a calendly book a call, but there's essentially a special VSL on that emphasizes the pain of inaction, breaks any objections, and it massively loaded with student proof. This is what makes VSL funnels so effective and why you should mainly use your VSL funnels for retargeting, because webinars are so amazing and so great at converting completely cold leads. And then when they are already warmed up a bit, we retarget them with our VSL, okay? And this is how we're running insanely, ridiculously profitable cold webinar funnels, okay? Well, the thing is, there are two different ways how you can retarget those people. I won't talk so much about sales management here. Obviously, post-webinar setting is a very, very common thing you should probably do, right? So post-setting fake payments if you're running a direct-to-card, or post-setting people who didn't show up, post-setting people who booked a call, post-setting people who are qualified but didn't book, stuff like that, okay? Or even attendees, depending on your volume and depending on your sales team. Now, here are the book a call ads that we're running, okay, in Meta. So we're running 10 to 15 retargeting ads, emphasizing mainly the pain of injection, crushing the risk objection, easing the pain of action, and emphasizing guarantees and bonuses, basically risk reversals, and creating urgency through that. Frame the call as a free strategy call. People don't like to be pitched hard for 30 minutes, all right? Emphasize the VSL, mention the VSL, say something like, yeah, that's a free explainer video I made for you to help you get to the best decision. Handle the guru objection, master student proof, and this is for everyone who attended. So one example could be, if you're seeing this ad, you've watched the masterclass, but for whatever reason on God's green earth you didn't book a call. Now look, I get it. The Alex from 7 years ago wouldn't have been taking action either. Right? You're probably burned online, guru objections, or you're scared to make the first step and actually commit. Okay, or the deafness objection. I get it. Starting to pursue your dream when your whole family thinks you're crazy, you're getting deep into their mind. Your partner calls you delusional, and you don't even believe in yourself. Believe me, that's exactly why I started Bomb Relation. And that's the main reason I'm recording this ad, okay? Because it's probably a fear of doubt that's keeping you stuck. My students had the same, okay? And we built our community for people like you to give you the fastest, safest, and easiest way. We're crushing the red to build a e-commerce brand. We've put 6 years of e-commerce experience into building a $1 million brand into a single program, okay? Without sounding corny, again, objection, this is probably the best shot you'll get at scaling your brand, okay? So here's what I say to me 6 years ago, book this strategy call, because worst case, you will leave away with more information to see if that's actually something you want to pursue. And then we have another one, like for example, here over there, burned before by online courses, okay? We have another one, a very, very short retargeting ad, selling them, what was this one about? Like, again, this is just for another offer. We have one over here, cost of inaction, the cost of not changing something, and we're trying to essentially make the cost of inaction so high that the cost of action decreases and people pull the trigger, okay? These are basically a couple of retargeting ads that we're running right now. And then we also have a follow-up sequence in our WhatsApp group with our sales team and also in our emails. And again, for this video, we just talk about the email side of things. So first of all, we have a 3-day replay promo. And again, there's a full video about this. This is the case study on my video, on my YouTube. Retargeting registrants and attendees. Also main list, but if you're running weekly or bi-weekly, you probably shouldn't, because main list will get burned. And we pitch the replay to everyone who didn't show up for the registrants first, okay? So this shouldn't be registrants, there should be no-shows. We emphasize the pain of inaction, pitch the replay, and on the replay page, the replay is basically like a VSL funnel, right? We have a calendar link and a type form sometimes.
And then to the attendees, we send them to the VSL page directly, a bit of replay promo as well, and we go hard on offer and bonus scarcity because those people are already warmed up. They just need to get some scarcity and urgency to get off the edge. And then after this 3-day replay promo, we transition essentially. And this is, I don't know so many people doing this out there. And we don't let them go right now, but we say something like in the last email or in the 4th email we send out there, okay, maybe now wasn't the right time to book a call now. But as a free gift from us, you get 7 days free of value. You get a full course about a special email course about a special topic to help you make the best decision. You can opt out at any time, okay? And then we automatically add them people when they kind of leave the 3-day replay promo workflow. We add them instantly in the 7-day free email course. And this could be one, this course should be like education, real value about one certain topic. For example, for remote sales, this could be an objection handling course where you're telling them how to handle the spouse objection, how to handle the price objection, every objection that's out there, okay? And we focus on delivering value only. Don't make this a big pitch, but always include a small CTA. Make this very long for me, guys. They include a small CTA to the VSL page at the end of every email. And this will significantly help you squeeze out the juice of each webinar. It's because leads are still hot. They just need a bit more nurturing and a bit more information. And in the last email, you handle the price objection, you pitch them student proof, and maybe you even offer them a special downsell. Okay. This is how you maximize the effect this one single whole webinar has with your VSL funnel and with your follow-up sequence, with your backend. Okay. This is essentially how our VSL funnels look like currently right now. Nothing special, just some student proof below and some screenshots. Okay. And then we're testing headlines here as well. We're testing different VSL variations. We have split tests there, UTM tracking, right? And we're trying to stay congruent with our messaging. Also a type for financial qualification, because you don't want your sales team to handle with a bunch of unqualified leads, right? They will probably leave. Now you've learned how you can basically now take a lead and put them through your ads to make them register, put them through a show-up sequence to replicate the organic sales process, then target them with the presentation, and then if they didn't buy, retarget them with our VSL funnel. Now it's time to learn the most important thing. And this is like literally the most crucial thing that makes cold webinars scalable, okay? Data. This is why we do all of this UTM tracking. This is why we are so detailed with all of the data that we use and cross-reference stuff, okay? This is why we nearly do like a weekly analysis of every single campaign to see where we can improve, because then you will outperform 99%. And I'm telling you, a lot of people in the space aren't doing it. Cold webinars are the art of learning. Okay, it's about collecting data and making needle-moving objections from the data, adjustments. Not every cold webinar will be a direct success. Forget this idea. Use each webinar as a data collection to learn about your messaging, your lead quality, your show-up sequence, your landing page, your presentation, and your retargeting. Okay. Then cross-reference the data from the UTMs, from the process that I showed you earlier with Manus. Look, which ads led to sales, which messaging in the ads, which angles attracted cheap, low-quality leads, which landing page variation worked better, did the VSL landing page lead to more show-ups, and which messaging led to more booked calls, more show-ups, and essentially closes. Okay, double down on this then. As you can see, we have an entire post-webinar tracking sheet for every campaign, and I'm still doing stuff in Google Sheets because I think it's so easy and so simple to have a good overview where we put in our ad spend essentially. So there it is. This is like basically you can play around and put in your ad spend. Let's say we spent through $3,000. I don't know about the total impressions, to be honest. Unique clicks, and you basically put in your number of registrations. Okay, we had a like say 2,000, let's say 600 registrations. Okay, our cost per registration is 5, quite well. Then we look at the show-ups, the total attendees. Let's say we had like 200. Okay, 33% show-up rate can be improved. Then we look at the retention rate. So how many attendees were there at the time of the offer? This is too low. Then we know we need to improve the presentation. And then you always see like your cost per application, cost per attendee, your total revenue, your total cash collected gross. This is highly important to analyze every campaign. And we're doing this for the next campaign, and so on. Okay. Now I want to tell you how to actually interpret this data correctly. And keep in mind, I will show you how to do everything with one tool that tells you like exactly what to do at the end. We're right there, okay? Well, first of all, the CPL. This is highly depends on what leads you're targeting. I won't give you an ideal CPL, cost per lead, okay? And the high CPL isn't always bad if you're intentionally targeting people with a lot of money, okay? And this also depends on the market you're targeting. If it's like US, if it's Europe, if it's a third world country. But it still gives you information about your ad creatives and about your landing page. So analyze the click-through rate, for example, that you see. This is a click-through rate between 2 to 4%. This is where you want to be. This means your ad creatives don't suck. If it is below, you should improve your ads, write better ads, okay? Then analyze the cost per milli. Where is it? Normally around 50 as well. It also depends with the broad targeting right now, right? Analyze the landing page load rate. This is far too low, but this is actually not the real landing page load rate because low will fuck things a bit up, to be honest. And then analyze the landing page conversion rate. Okay, landing page conversion rate should be between 40 to 50% ideally. If not, test a new headline, add a VSL, write better creatives. Don't use Claude to write your creatives, okay? Then look at the show-up rate. Between 30 to 45% is okay for cold traffic. This is where you want to be, ideally 40%. If not, add more hammer ads, spend more on the hammer ads, improve your show-up sequence copy, improve your domain health to make sure they don't land in spam, add more volume to the email flow, add more text reminders, nurture the WhatsApp group more, put the link everywhere where you have, add an add to calendar link, add breakout videos, include more sales assets. Like there's so much stuff you can do, okay? When your call booking rate is between 10 to 20%, this is good. To be honest, we had much higher call booking rates for a couple of our clients as well. But this tells you a bit about the lead quality. Are people complaining about not having enough money in the chat, right? Is lead quality the main problem here? I would like to show you how to assess this even better. And might the offer or the pitch maybe be the problem. Look at your webinar retention rate. Is it between 75 to 85%? Then it's good. Is it lower? Then your webinar is the problem. Improve the presentation, deliver more value in the training section. This is crucial, okay? Are you targeting the right awareness level with your presentation? Is the introduction too low? Pitch a different offer maybe. Go with another price point. Maybe go direct to cart, okay? You move some deliverables, add more bonuses, add a discount, go harder on scarcity, urgency, and improve the transition to the pitch maybe in the webinar, or improve the pain section. Or add more objection handling and should improve. There's literally so much stuff you can do from the data. Then the call show-up rate. So let's say you're running a book call webinar, is between 75 to 85%, then everything's fine. If it's lower, improve the show-up flow. Add 15 to 20 reminder mails. Improve the copy of the reminder mails. Include sales assets. Add text reminders. Do pre-call webinar setting. Text them from iMessage, so basically your closers. The closer should have a WhatsApp group with the lead where he sends them personalized objection handling sales assets and selfie videos reaching out. Yo, this is Simon. I just want to say we have a call coming up right now. If there's anything in your mind, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here for you all the time. And by the way, here's a pretty cool video that X recorded about this exact problem, that thing that you have problems with in the past. So make sure to check it out and let me know if there's anything, any questions you have about it or stuff like that, okay? Best sales practices. Then look at the close rate. Is the close rate between 30 to 40%? If not, the closer is the problem. For warm webinars, we even see higher close rates, right? 50, 60% sometimes. But if it's like below, if it's around 20, 15% higher, a better sales team, do better sales team management, okay? Or, crucial thing here as well, the lead quality might be the problem. This is something you want to do like by analyzing the sales calls, and you really look, okay, Are we getting a lot of people without money? Then the closer isn't the problem, then the marketing is, okay? And then your messaging is attracting low quality leads. Get feedback from your closer and look at the data. And essentially, with all this data that we're collecting, we also do media buying adjustments. So we're doubling down on angles that attract high quality leads, lead to closers, to more booked calls. We do more of them. We copy this messaging, but slightly change it, add a new creative, and test more ads in the style. Okay. And we increase the hammer budget if we're dealing with a low sharp rate and reminders are dialed in. Okay. When the reminders are dialed in, everything's dialed in, but we still have a low sharp rate, increase hammer budget. We remove bad ads. So ads that continuously attract people with no money, or people who are looking for a get rich quick scheme, or people with this shiny object syndrome, never taking action. And we are avoiding this messaging in the future. Now, once you've got some winning angles, scale these. To battle creative fatigue, create a small test budget, normally around 10 to 20% for each campaign, and remove the winners for this ad set, okay, from this ad set. So basically, you go to Meta, duplicate your ad set, then you remove the winners from before, you add 3 to 4 new angles, and you look how they're performing, and you're scaling these again and repeat, merging them with your ad set from before. Okay, because you will notice creative fatigue on it and through a decreasing click-through rate. When the click-through rate for an ad goes down, okay, creative fatigue is slowly, coming. So you need to make adjustments and need to add new angles, right? And now you've literally learned everything that we know about how to run cold webinars. Right now, how to take a lead through an entire pipeline, how to optimize your decision through data. Now I will show you how you can get access to this webinar campaign analyzer and what it does. By the way, this is something like a consultant, and you can get access to this when you just click below. I will put the link in the description. Okay. Now, what you can basically do, let's say you're running a webinar, cold traffic. Okay. You're running a book a call webinar. Then it asks you for your ticket price. Most of you will probably have a $5,000 ticket price that you're pitching. What was your total ad spend? And now I want to simulate one of our offers, for example. I don't know about the real registrants, so don't. I think it was 1,800 webinar attendees, 800, but I don't know, to be honest, about the booked calls. Let's make this a bit cooked that it tells you exactly what to do. Okay. Let's say our show up rate is cooked, so around 400 people showing up. Let's say our booked call rate is cooked, so around 20 booked calls. Let's say our call show ups are cooked, so 10. Let's say our number of sales are cooked, 1. And then it tells you, review your campaign, yeah, everything's fine. Analyze the campaign. And now it tells you exactly what to do. It shows you your revenue, your show up rate, your close rate, your cost per lead, your cost per attendee, your cost per book call, your ROAS, and your cost per acquisition. Okay. And then it shows you basically where the targets are for a cold campaign, for the close rate, call show up, book call rate, and where you are right now. And you can see basically this is like the industry standard around you, right? And you are the orange triangle in there. Okay. You can see, all right, there's a lot of room to go for close rate, for example, a lot of room for show rate, book call rate, call show ups. Okay. And then it gives you recommendations to boost your call show up rate from 50 to 80%. It asks you, do you have an aggressive 50 to 20 pre-message reminder sequence? Are you setters adding you and the lead to a shared WhatsApp group? Are you sending valuable sales assets and personal self-always? It literally tells you what to do. Or to improve the close rates. First, revisit your ad messaging. Is the offer positioned correctly? Is your sales team following up? Are they building rapport before pitching? Are they performing at least 5 to 7 follow-ups with non-buyers? Okay. Improve your webinar show-up rates. Are you running hammer them ads to registrants? Do you have 15 to 20 email nurture sequences and all of this stuff? Increase book a call rates. And then you also have YouTube videos from here on my channel that essentially help you how to write a killer webinar, for example, if the webinar was the problem. I reduce cost per lead. and you see how we're currently reducing our cost per lead, and you have the entire case study there below. So this tells you exactly, and this is tailored on your data. It gives you different recommendations based on your data. So if you're running direct to cart, if you're running warm, it will give you different data, and you can just go to analyze your new campaign and play around with this, whatever you're currently running. All right. You can access this completely for free below this video. Okay. Now, I hope this was highly valuable for you, and you now have a good idea how to run and why you should run profitable cold webinars with a hybrid funnel if you're currently not doing this. Okay. And if you want help implementing all of the things or the access to our exact systems that we're currently using behind everything, to all of the templates, right? Or if you want us guys to come in there and implement this exact hybrid funnel for you, all right, then feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, simon.asman. I will put the link below in the video description. All right. Take care.